Hello, hello, hello. This um, is another vlog. Um, what is today? Today is June 11th. It's about, I want to say 3 o'clock, 3 something. Me and my husband flew in from Utah and this morning, coming in on coming back from a business trip. It went great. It went great. It went great. We're very excited. Um, but that's news for other days. Today I'm going to be vlogging or doing my chronicle on my preparation for expatriation to Africa. Needless to say, though, that our business trip had a lot to do with the prepping and the preparing side of things, and that will be announced a little later in other videos. But today I just kind of wanted to vlog. I was reflecting on some things, and I wanted to share those with others that might feel like they're in a place of doubtfulness and fear of an unknown thing. And so I kind of wanted to talk about that because I am in the same place, but I'm not doubting and I'm not fearing. And I think that is one of the reasons why I am motivated to do what I'm doing, because fear and doubt will stop you from doing anything, and the unknown is very scary. So I understand that. Just a little bit of my background. um, I am over 40. I have 3 siblings, and my father is deceased. I have a stepfather, and my mother's still here. She's 73 years old. And I have 3 awesome children, and again, you already know how many grandchildren I have. But I grew up in a situation or a family where I come from a very impoverished neighborhood, or I would say an impoverished upbringing, to where it was always a struggle every time school came around for school clothes. It was a struggle just to get school clothes. It was a struggle to keep lights on in the house, heat. Um, Everything was a struggle in our home. Not to mention, my mother's struggles that she was dealing with and how it affected us as children. And with all of that said, some people may feel like they have the worst of the worst, or they will grow up and not have a direction, or how do I know this, and where am I going to learn that from? And you feel like you're kind of like growing up in a person, you as a person, that you don't you're missing some puzzle pieces, because it's hard when you're over the age of 40, or at 40, or even 30s, or even just a young adult growing up, kind of trying to fit the pieces of yourself together because you didn't really have a good example or support. And I want to kind of touch on that, because I had always had a mindset of what I envisioned myself to be, but I sure didn't know how to get there. I didn't know what it would take. I worked my way up, I would say, with jobs. Um, I I was a victim of someone who had a child at a very early age. I was pregnant at 15 years old. I had my son at 16. My son is 27 years old now. Um, I was a dropout. I dropped out of school, and I decided that I needed to raise my son, and I was going to focus on that because I had the mentality that I was going to provide and support and be there for my child because I didn't have the amount of support that I felt that I needed to have a full puzzle. And I just wanted to see what that looked like, what the difference was. And so um, I dropped out of school and I started working. And my very first job, I worked at Ross. I got that job through my sister, my oldest sister, who was a great example and showed up every day, just like, hey, I gotta go to work. She always dressed nice. She always was well put together. Um, and I always looked up to her as um, I wouldn't say a mother figure, but a big sister, respectfully. She's 8 years older than me. And the things that I couldn't get from my mother, I pulled from her and other people around me. Um, and so I kind of created those puzzle pieces in my life. And um, that was with different individuals in the family, people at work, different friends that I had, their parents. And I kind of people watched through my growth period. Um, so, with that said, with being, a dropout, working in retail, I didn't work there very long at all. Only because I didn't like it. I wasn't used to work. I didn't have any good work ethic. I just didn't know anything about work. All I noticed was my sister got up every day, dressed nice, and worked at a department store, and her old boss worked there, and she got me a job. And so I moved on and started working, here and there at other places, and telemarketing, and working on campaigns, political campaigns, and just different jobs here and there, and picking up some skills here and there. Customer service. Customer service was really big back when I started working, and there was a lot of training that was provided for customer service, and I learned a lot. And with that, I learned the proper way of communicating and conversing with people, and picked up different words because, remember, I was a dropout. I wasn't learning those different tools and soft skills in school. I was just a dropout. And so I would take every situation in with a full sniff, of everything. I always was learning. And the reason why I'm telling this story is because I know there's other people out there that feel the same way, or that have come from that type of background, and they feel like, oh, I can't do it because, I'll never be anything because of that, or I'll never be anything because of this. But education and school is all around you. We learn from one another, and you pick up habits that could be good or bad. You pick up skill sets that could be good or bad, from everything around you. And throughout my course of life, and just assessing some things that I wish I could have changed, and decisions that I made that I wish I didn't make, I didn't let those things get me down. I learned from them. I built. I moved on. I adjusted. I changed. I readjusted, and I moved on. Eventually, I was at a point in my life, I think I was probably about 20 years old, and I had, my own place. I was on welfare, and I just didn't want to be on welfare. Me and my son's father, we were a young couple. he was doing things to make ends meet. I was too. We had our own place and stuff, but I just saw a bigger picture. I saw me in a different light, and I knew that I was going to have to make a drastic change for me to get from what was in my mind out. And I had to hold my own self accountable to do that. And what I mean by that was I had to be realistic with myself. Like, for one, my son was getting older. There were some things that were around him that I didn't like. Um, I knew that I would probably have to leave my relationship because of the way it was going. The neighborhood I lived in, I didn't like. There was just a lot. And I had a child to raise. And so I knew that I was going to need more skills in order to make that assessment a reality. And so eventually, my son's father and I were no longer together. I started working a different job. I started working at a call center, Wells Fargo call center. I picked up another job. Well, first I enrolled myself in night school. Mind you, I still don't have a high school diploma. But I enrolled myself in night school, and I said, you know what? I want to get a decent job. I want to make some more money to be able to support my son better and ourselves. And so I went to night school. I learned how to type. Now, I didn't go to night school for my GED or anything like that. I went to night school because I wanted to learn how to type, and I wanted to learn computers because I knew I wanted a corporate job. And I know corporate jobs, you had to have, an education, a background, some type of certificate that proved that you had it, but they weren't always going to check. So I was like, whatever, I'm going to take my chances, and I have faith in myself. And faith is an action, and I understood that at that age. So I took it upon myself to do this anyway. I paid money into it. I learned what I needed to learn. I learned how to type, and I had applied for a job at U.S. Bank. It was a corporate real estate bank, and it was pretty much like a banker, but it was like a call center banker, but it was for corporate accounts. And needless to say, I got the job. And everything from there just got better. I was able to move out of my neighborhood. I was able to afford my son extracurricular activities that he wanted to do. Mind you, also, let me back up. While I was going to night school, I took another job, and I had bartended and waitressed for a while. And then I got the job at the bank. So I was working 3 jobs, and I was going to night school. So I was very determined. And if I didn't have that determination and that belief in myself, I wouldn't have never pushed myself. I wouldn't have never, I would have stayed stuck because of fear and, those different words that you play over and over in your head that makes you believe, oh, you can't do it because you're here, because of your background, because of this, because of that. And that's not true. And one day I'll get into a full story later on, how everything else turned out. But the reason why I had to lay that foundation is because, again, I'm vlogging because I am expatriating to a new country, and that can be very scary. You might feel like you don't have the tools to do that. What is this going to look like? It's just like you're free falling, and it is very you could get, very on edge, and every now and then you're reminded, like, hey, you know what, I might not have the benefit of experiencing this here in Africa because they might not have it, or you know, you have to learn to live more humble. um, you have to learn new skills. You're going to have to learn a new language. You're going to have to learn off of other people. um, so you're going to have to reinvent the wheel again. You're going to have to put those little puzzle pieces together about your life again. And being at this age, um, you might feel like, oh, I'm just not going to do that. I'm just like, I don't think 40 is old. I don't. I think that you're at the perfect age to do whatever you want. I don't think an age is old at all. And my grandmother used to say, you're not old until the majority of you is on the dresser than there is in the bed. Meaning that if you got your teeth on the dresser, if you got your glasses on the dresser, your hearing aid, your hair, your cane sitting over there, your wheelchair, that's when you know you're old, when you can't pretty much move and function like you really want to. So um, I never say that it's too old to do anything or to try things, or to experience new things, or to reinvent yourself. Um, but you will feel like you are too old, or you're not worthy, or, um, you know, this just can't happen to me, or I just don't have it. I'm not like that. Um, you will feel like that if you tell yourself, and if you believe in those things, and especially if you're not making moves, if you're not demanding this thing for yourself. You have to bring it to you. You have to make it happen. It's not going to land in your lap. And I'm just hoping that I am empowering anyone my age, younger, or an elder, that is contemplating the reinvention, that's contemplating putting those puzzle pieces together, that's contemplating uprooting yourself and going somewhere else, um, and battling with the back and forth, and the mindset, and the, oh, well, I can't do it because I'm from this area, I don't know this that much, and oh, I'm just not sure. You could do whatever you want. You could be whoever you want. You can reinvent yourself again. You're the only one that's holding yourself back from doing that. And you can change careers. You could do whatever you want. It's life. Life is to be lived. Life is to be experienced. Life is to be enjoyed. You could do it with your loved ones. You can do it without your loved ones. It's just what you choose to do. It's your picture to paint. You are the one that takes that paintbrush and you stroke here, and you're adding a little color there and a flavor there, and your little smudge here, and you erase there. It's in your power. It's in your wheelhouse to do. And if you're not going to will yourself to do it, then you're not going to will yourself to do it, and you probably won't will yourself to do anything. But I'll leave on this note that I willed myself to be here in the present and to be planning my life to live abroad. I am making steps and adjustments, and I'm putting myself in uncomfortable situations that I have never been in, with people that I would never think to even imagine that I would have relationships with, because of the things that I did when I was younger, and they worked because I did them. Lastly, again, the correction part. When my son was old enough, I decided I want a degree. I want a degree. I signed myself up for college. The college was not supposed to accept me. It's the will of the Most High, because I didn't have a high school diploma or a GED. But they gave me an opportunity to go to night school or GED classes to get my GED. The stipulation was that I had to get my GED before I could graduate. And that meant that I was going to have to do the same thing. I was going to have to persevere. I was going to have to put myself in that situation again where I was working 3 jobs or whatever and just pushing myself because there was something I wanted. So I went to 2 schools while I was in college. I went to college and I went to a night school. Um, I was able to get my GED like 2 weeks before I got my degree, and I was able to walk. And so I am a living proof that it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what country that you're used to being in. It doesn't matter if you're fearful. It doesn't matter what you don't know. If you have the tools and if you persevere and if you push yourself to do it, anything is possible. And I believe that life in Africa is going to be awesome. I'm going to learn so much new things. I'm going to meet so many new people. I'm going to make so many different good relationships. You know, maybe it's not going to be all great, but in my mind, it's going to be great. I am going to force myself and will myself to make sure that I am going to be successful, and I will not allow fear and where I've come from and who I was to determine who I am today and who I will be in the future. So this again is for those that are fearful and stuck in having a bout, I would say a mind battle between yourself and your flesh, your flesh and your spirit, and you're battling with that. You could do whatever you want to do. You just have to do it. You just have to do it. I don't care how stupid it looks. I don't care who's talking about you. I don't care who you have to shut off to do it. I don't care who you have to leave, what relationships you have to, you know, tell the truth to. You just have to do it. You have to do it. And if you don't do it, you're going to be where you are. And just know that that's what you're going to do. And that might even be okay. But if you are uncomfortable and you don't want to be there, then you're going to have to do it. So, yeah, that is my second vlog today, June 11th. And again, I'm sitting here in my backyard, and I am very happy today. I'm very happy, and I'm very anxious to go to experience Africa and to see what else I can contribute to my life by loving and giving and learning and walking in the power of faith through actions. So, until next time, shalom.